your exclusive chance to win 2 VIP hospitality tickets to Arsenal versus Chelsea worth over £1,500 is finally here.
AFTV is teaming up with Forte, the marketplace for luxury raffles, to give one lucky winner these tickets.
We're talking free food, drinks, great seats, and a day at the Emirates that you'll never forget.
And with only 250 tickets available, your chances of winning are seriously high. Plus, guys, a percentage of every ticket sold goes to a charity to help fight childhood cancer.
It's completely transparent and the checkout is easy. It takes less than 1 minute and you can even use Apple Pay.
So hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to enter a raffle with Forte.
The competition is UK only and the winner will be announced live on YouTube and Instagram, so grab your tickets right now.
Good luck!
Yes, people. I say yes, people. I don't know if we're live because I don't see any comments. I don't see anyone waiting. I don't even see us on the YouTube. So I'm weary to continue right now. What are you saying, Dan, though, whilst we wait to see if...
I'm good, man. Yeah, we'll check that out. Like you say, normally the comments are flying. So, yeah, I have to see. But I'm good, bro. I'm good. I am kind of not shocked to anything that this ownership do. I'm sure we're going to talk about that today in terms of tickets. Been with Curtis today chatting about it. And it's mad, isn't it? The timing. Read the room, man. This club don't read the room well, man. So we'll get into that, man. But, yeah, but I'm good, man. Pleasure to be on with you, bro.
Come on, G. And I think we are live now, so apologies, people, that it might have just come in midway through a conversation. But yeah, we went live and it wasn't live, but we're live now. So hit the like button, people. Make sure you subscribe, notification bell on, all of that stuff. But we popped up out of nowhere. Bo, I thought it was up. The stream's been up, so I don't know what's going on with YouTube or what's going on in the back end, but we're here now. We're here now. Popped up out of nowhere.
StreamYard, man. StreamYard's been playing up apparently. So
here to talk a little. And we move. Well, you were saying that you was live with Curtis. What, on your channel or on Curtis?
I was on Curtis this week. We do like an alternate thing where me and him are kind of sharing each other's channels and chatting, and we were talking about stuff, man. And yeah, I went on a bit of a rant earlier about it, and I see you on X similarly to myself, and just kind of can't believe this ownership. They just don't read the room well, man. If I'm honest with you, the back end of a 7-1 victory, we're all happy, and then it's like, boom, guess what? Season tickets are going up again, and I'm like, really? I don't know, man.
Their moments. They pick their moments.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. No coincidence. It comes after the 7-1, but yeah, it is what it is. What came after the United FA Cup? Zubimendi. That was the one that came after that.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's a good one. And normally, when the transfer window shuts, it's the summer's going to be a war chest. We always get that one as well, bruv. So yeah, I've just seen this movie so many times, bruv.
Unprecedented summer. Yeah, but as you can see, people, ticket prices rising. I know it doesn't affect everyone that watches the channel, considering we've got worldwide viewership, Arsenal fans all over the gaff. But in terms of the ticket prices rising, I still think it's very relevant to my thought process, the conversations I've been having, Dan's been having, Curtis been having recently, even Robbie and Co as well, in terms of the ownership and their true ambition. Because this ain't just, a price rise in isolation. It's back-to-back increases over the last couple of seasons, and you couple it up with Liverpool freezing theirs for the season ahead, as well as other clubs. But I use Liverpool because they're on the way to win the Premier League, amongst potentially other things, probably the Carabao Cup. You see how Newcastle are day by day, the players are dropping, and they're still in with a shout for the Champions League. So yeah, their ticket price is freezing. I'm looking at it like, oh, and in our explanation on the club website, it says something about, it's essentially saying if you want us to continue competing and winning major trophies, then, we have to fall in line with the rising costs. But I just don't. That just doesn't sit well with me, especially when you look around and you see other clubs that are either forcing their owner's hand, because I know Liverpool fans have do protest in general with these things, and win some, lose some. But, at least you protest enough to win some. Forget the one that you lose. Whereas we over here, we just take, Steve got ripped the other week for saying take it on the chin, but that's essentially what we keep on doing. I say I've got you on the stream. You're still a match going fan, week in, week out, season ticket holder, whereas I'm not anymore. So it's two different sides of a coin. There's still, many different sides as well. So forget a coin. But how do you feel? Like, because obviously people, especially on Twitter already, I made a comment earlier. People are like, oh, but you don't go games anyway. You're comfy in the studio. It wasn't always the case, people. Ask yourself why I don't go to as many anymore. Ask yourself why I'm not a season ticket holder anymore. I was tired of feeling like a customer. Tired of it. And one day I'll probably come to regret it, that I let it go. But I ain't regretting it right now. I'll be honest with you, Dan. Not only you, but I believe with family as well, season ticket holders. This impacts you directly, impacts your pocket. How are you feeling about it? Because I think it was 6% last year and about 4% this year. So overall, in the last 24 months, it's coming up to about a 10% increase in prices. You consider we're already the highest prices. We've got the most expensive, cheapest season ticket in the league, and that's by £200. I think just below our cheapest season ticket is just over £1,000. The next in line is Tottenham, which is about 850. After that, Chelsea 750, and then the rest below. So we're some way off the cheapest season ticket, and then you look at all other metrics, most expensive. You're looking at £3,000, and you're looking at everything. They're taking the piss. Surely done.
Big time, bruv. Big time. Not my favorite people, as you know, this ownership. And a way that the club announced this is as if me and you are talking like we're trying to go to shopping Lidl's instead of Tesco's. Like, real talk. The way it's been announced is just a piss take, if I'm honest.
What do you mean by that? By the comment? Is that what you mean?
As if these people aren't billionaires. Do you know what I'm saying? Sorry, people, but where it is, cost of living stuff, it's all going up. We've got to try and compete, got to try and win these major trophies. Ain't gonna come out of my pocket, gonna have to come out of your you call everybody customers. That's basically what that statement says, bro. You lot are customers now, we're gonna hike it up because we ain't gonna put it in our pocket. The people forget that they've put 200 million in this club since 2008, since they actually rocked up. Yeah. 200 million pounds in 2008 to 2025, and they're billionaires. 200 million pounds, and people say 750 million given to Arteta. Yeah, hang on a minute. Like, what people just think Josh Kroenke's got a check out and gone, yeah, Mikel, 750 million. There you go, that's yours. No, man, this is self-sustained model. It's what they work on. This has come out of the club. This has come out of my pockets, your pockets. It's what they're doing, and they know right now that this process is done. Do you know why it's done? Because they're back in the Champions League, bro. They're back in the Champions League with this money. Yeah? Because we don't spend money when we're in the Champions League. We spend money to get back into it. That's why we got the likes of Aubameyang and Lacazette and Partey and Tierney and Gabriel and Ben White and Odegaard, and the list goes on. And since we've got into the Champions League, the signings have been none other than that. Absolutely crap compared to them. Yeah? So that's because they're back in the Champions League and there's 60,000 people on the waiting list, and their priority is to upgrade the stadium, not to win trophies. It ain't to go into the summer and January transfer window to try and allow this to be the case. They've got a merch dropping every single minute. It's not even kits now, Turkish. It's China vases now. Yeah, mugs for £40. Signatures of some geezer called Nick Munden. I mean, Christ, can he play up front? Do you know what I mean? Who is this guy? Jesus, honestly, man, this is the problem with this, right? A lot of people are too scared to call this out. I don't know why, but they are. A lot of the people are just dreaming and they're dreaming and they're dreaming, and they believe the Kroenkes have now woken up and it's now a total ownership thing, and they're going to be giving Mikel all the money, and there's going to be a war chest in the summer. But people like you and I have seen this movie too long, man. And I always kind of compare it to the Cool Runnings movie. Yeah, great to watch, but it's not the ending I wanted. It's a horrendous ending, really, when you think about it. But at least they carried it over the line. Yeah, we can't even do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've seen this movie so many times, man, and it don't end the way I want it to. Yeah, it's all hope, it's all belief, it's all, wow, look at this. Maybe this is different. Maybe they're gonna do it, and then boom, it comes crashing down. And then what happens is it's rinse and repeat. The season ticket prices go up, and it's always the PR perfect time to when to announce this. We've already spoken about other examples of where they do that and how they do that. Yeah, and unfortunately, I wish I could say that 90% of the fans felt like you and I. And it hurts me that 90% of the fan base don't, because there's a definite section that are still lapping this up. Well, we understand the inflation and all that. They've got to try and do something because this is the way of football. So much money in the game. Got to try and get gate receipts up, X, Y, Z. If I actually understood that was a reason to say, do you know what? You want Isak, don't you? right, trust me, we're going to go get him. Yeah, it's going to put your tickets up a bit, but we're going to go get him. But I don't have the faith that they are going to go get him, because I bet you they deliver me a Sesko, or I bet you they deliver me a Jonathan David on a free, as opposed to an Alexander Isak, right? So this is why I can't get excited by what this club are doing. And people might shout at me and say it's negative, and we get that quite a lot. I know you do too. But if these guys would allow me to get just to a final at Wembley, not a charity shield, yeah, not a community shield to go to Wembley, just try and get me to a domestic cup final and let me get to Wembley, yeah, at least. Can't even offer me that, let alone a trophy, yeah? You can't get me past the quarterfinals of a Champions League, and you can't win me a Premier League 5 years in with the amount of money that we've spent. So it's letting me down every year. But what I'm doing is I'm having to put my money back in my pockets. Now, to be fair, I have admiration for people like you, right? That have just gone, do you know what? That's me. Cool. I know a lot of people that have done exactly what you've done. And I've got to be honest with you, bro. If I didn't have the family and the tight connection I do with the love of going to football for those reasons, maybe I'd be on the same bandwagon as you, right? But then there's again me thinking, people say to me, why do you go? Why do you buy merch? Why do you do this? Why do you put stuff on your walls? Why do you X, Y, Z? Do you really think Stan and Josh are going to sit there and go, oh, hold on a minute. Dan Potts and Turkish have stopped going in the shop. They've stopped going in the shop. Listen, if there was 60,000 people stopping going in the shop, and they was leaving at 70 minutes because they've had enough, or they were making a kind of united front and a united voice, I'll be there. But unfortunately, we don't have that as a united fan base. Yeah. What happened to the we want Cronkies out and the we cares to you and the protests outside the ground? Why are they just stopping again now? Because this is the thing with the fan base. They don't know what they want. Do they want to compete? Do they want to win? Do they want to get across the line? Or are they happy to see the PR process? Yeah, is what we all call it. Are they happy to see that? Are they happy to walk to the games with murals on walls and looking at Win the Dogs and looking at our beautiful history around the stadium? Or do we actually go and actually try and win something at the Emirates and make the stadium remembered for doing something and delivering something? And until we do that, I don't think we should be putting prices up. I think the fans have been incredibly patient. Whether you believe and you're on the bandwagon of this is still going to end well, or whether you question it and have concerns for it, I think we've been unbelievably patient. And those that don't think we have been patient, let me give you examples as to why we're patient. Lastly, 21 years without a Premier League title, 31 years without a League Cup, 31 years without a European trophy of any form, and now 5 years without an FA Cup, soon to be 6. You don't think that's patient? Come on, man.
That's one of the things I hate most when people, it used to happen much more with Wenger's final years, when people are like, it could be worse, and just support. And the thing is, there's a thin line between it all. Thin line, and that is sad that I use the word customers now, because there is a thin line between it. When I say customers, I'm looking at it from the Kroenke lens. Yeah, no one should get offended, because I don't particularly look down at any form of support. I think there's various forms of support that's required for a club to do well, whether that's positive, negative, optimistic, pessimistic, accountable, riding the ferries, whichever type of support is, they all play their part somewhere along the line, for sure. And I think Arsenal's support, especially Emirates, over the last couple of years, has probably been the best it's been in the Emirates era in terms of noise, unity, belief, passion, all of that, songs, all of that. It's probably been the best 2 years back to back, especially after the toxic last few years of Wenger, where it was very much divided into various different factions. So those match going fans, where I've been, here and there throughout the last 2 years, you've been much more consistently, but those match going fans who have helped along the process, because they have, right? Because Arteta said it, and the club have insinuated it, saying the fans need to, help rally around. The atmosphere matters, make noise, sing, do all of these things. The fans have done that in the stadium, and this is what you've hit them with year on year, back to back. And you're saying it's to win majors, essentially, whilst the team that are winning majors and have won majors in the last 5 years have frozen theirs. But like you said, and I see a comment about give up the season ticket, Dan. It's not, I'm not Dan, but I'll speak for him here. It's not an easy thing to do. And the reality is, and I know the reality is, nigh on impossible to get it back if you ever want it back. And Arsenal are not a company we've just bought into, or like Apple iPhone, or like Nike trainers. it's something more than that, or it was something more than that. You know, I always use the reference. It was a club growing up, felt very much felt like the fans were very much connected. Now it feels very much like a company that had fans come along with it for Cronke, but those fans are the customers, and that's why it's such a profitable business. It's a unique business for them. You know, it's a very unique business to have the level of loyalty that football clubs have, not just them, all the owners that have came in over the last 20 years. But we've seen some owners that have come in, invested, and you can tell the ones that want to win, that want to create something special, not create a well-run, profitable business. Now, even the argument about well-run, profitable business, I used to hear this a lot when we were selling players year in, year out. But then it ended up in us making losses. Remember, self-sustainable isn't just 2 years ago we heard that. It might be 2 years ago the first time the young generation heard self-sustainable. I'll let people know. Self-sustainable came in when we moved into the Emirates. And self-sustainable led us down the road to a loss-making company for the first time in our history. Self-sustaining model led to that. And we're still in that. 2019 was our first year-making loss. We're in 2025 now. The report's just come out for 23, 24, whatever it was. That'll be the final year of losses. We'll be back in the pro on top of record revenue. But don't forget, 12 months ago, Josh, self-sustaining model, that stuff starts coming out again. And I get it. Of course, every business needs to be in some shape or form self-sustainable, especially with all the rules about now. But I don't think they're in that position to be able to just back off and lean on the same rules that they lent on 20 years ago, 15 years ago, that eventually led us down the road of, what the hell are you, man, doing? Look at what's happened to Wenger. How are we going to get back into the Champions League, let alone compete? That's what self-sustaining led down 15 years ago. So I don't want to hear that nonsense no more, especially when it looks like Man City are going to get away with whatever they've been accused of. If Man City get away with whatever they're being accused of, because people like to act like they know the ins and outs. The reality is we don't really know the ins and outs. But if they get away with whatever it is, or they didn't even do anything for me to say get away with it, then, bro, it's time to start breaking some rules. It's time to, because we can't be the only one following rules, and all around us, they're getting investigated. They're getting investigated. Oh, no, that's all right. You're all right. They're getting, no, you're all right. All that threat of you won't be in Europe. All that threat was just nonsense. There's too much power.
Look at Forest as well. They've been slapped on the wrist and they're sitting in third place. Like, come on, man. Like, they broke on the rules. They've had their fine. They've had points deductions. Leicester, Everton, Forest, all these people. Man, like, if they get away with this, Newcastle are just going to go, what were we doing? Let's just go. Let's just go. Newcastle will go mad. Yeah. Arsenal should go mad. Chelsea will continue to go mad with it. United, likewise, will continue to go mad. Because this is the thing. Like, I don't even sit there and say, boo-hoo, Arsenal haven't spent any money. I'm not one that says that. Because in the last 5 years, we've spent more than Man City. We've actually spent more than Real Madrid if you look in the same amount of it. My problem is where the money has gone. And my problem is when you've needed to just go that little bit more, you've just refused. How many windows have we sat there and gone, do you know what? I spent a lot of money, but how come we're still 2-3 players short then? And then we get to the next window and go, right, I get you. You're going to put them 2-3 players in. Nothing happens. Wait a minute. Now we've lost players again in the summer and we're bringing more players in, but we're still too short because you might have bought them 3 in, but you've lost another 4. Every single window is the same, bro. Every single window. And the reason I know that the ownership are the biggest problem at this club, as much as I'm not a huge fan of being convinced by Mikel yet, I know that you and I maybe differ a little bit on that. I know that you started to believe, and I just need to see him get us across the line before I can be totally convinced. But where you and I are on the same wavelength on the ownership is, I remember this in the same scenario as when we had Ozil and Aubameyang, bro. I'd start again, Ozil and Sanchez, where we had no DM for God knows how long, yeah? Then we get the DM, and then all of a sudden we don't have a striker. Then we get a brilliant defense situation now with Gabriel and Saliba. Finally, it's like, come on now, where's the striker? So Fabregas and Van Persie, how bad was the defense whilst they were there? And who are the common denominators throughout all of that time? It ain't Arteta, it ain't Edu, it isn't even Arsene Wenger now. He's gone, yeah? It's these ownership. So every single time we get to a window, we're short. Why are we short? in every single window from what 2007 or 6, maybe even when we moved into the Emirates, right the way forward to now. Name me one window where you went, oh man, that's ready. That squad is ready. They don't even have to touch that squad now. That's unbelievable. That window's shut and we're like ready to go. I can't name one, bruv. I can't name one window where I thought, wow.
Probably
So,
probably the Rice window, because in isolation, spending 100 million on a player was wow, because
yeah,
that when people sometimes, like last year I said Mbappe again, don't take that too serious, but it's the standards. I'm trying to talk to these big players, if possible at the very least. But a couple of years ago, when I used to say Arsenal can spend, like when I used to say let's go for a whoever, let's say whoever, let's go for this elite player. Oh, he's gonna cost 100 mil, mate. Arsenal can't spend 100 mil. Oh, can't. Okay. But now we have that argument's got. Of course we can. This is Arsenal Football Club.
yep.
And now our revenue is even more, is more than it was 2 years ago, more than it's ever been. Now I understand we've still made a loss, but it's a comfy loss. It's a comfy loss that, in a year when the new accounts come out, the accounts that we're currently in right now, right, the 24-25, then we're in pro and top revenue. So we're in a very healthy place. And I'll go back to what you said about, if you're given the necessary additions, the top players, let's just say we signed Kvaratskhelia in January, right? And then the news of the season ticket came in. But let's just say Kvaratskhelia wasn't enough. The injuries on top of everything. This is the Premier League. He didn't hit the ground running as much as we would have hoped. We're still some way off Liverpool. It'd be a bit more understanding because you've got a quality winger there for the future that's going to... And the season ticket increase, even though still I would say you're taking the piss, it could be more digestible because you've just brought a player in that we all have hope would be able to improve us and make us a better outfit. But they just go with a zero window, literally a zero window, and then come out with season ticket amidst claims of Zubimendi and Kimmich. Now, all I'm saying with Zubimendi and Kimmich, people just remember these names were linked by top in the nose, right? Just remember that. So when the summer comes, that is the standard. If Jorginho and Partey are gone, which I don't mind, that's the standard that they sold to us in the season that it's going to be. So make sure we hold them to that standard. Not, Kimmich, he's chose Barca, so let's give Jorginho a new contract. None of that stuff. Because that sounds like something we'll do. Zubimendi might come in, but Jorginho will get a new contract or something like that. And it's still not...
Facts.
It's not complete enough, but...
It does deflate. It does deflate when you get given those names and then you end up with them. Like, listen, I think Jorginho's done his job, but he's not a Caicedo, right? And although I think Trossard's a better signing than Mudryk at the time, the £90 million signing would have showed more intent because that was the player that people wanted. Yeah. Of course, now that would have been a mistake, but still we went with a cheaper option. So it's always been that way at the Arsenal as well. And I look at those names that we're being mentioned and we've been linked with. We've heard all this before, bro. We've heard all this before. How many times did Ornstein tell us we were going to go buy Benzema? How many times were we linked with Jan and Villa and Julian Draxler and Salomon Kalou every year? Yeah. How many times were we going to be going in with late bids for Higuain? So I look at this and I think, yeah, this is sounding very similar. Now, listen, we might get Zubimendi. If Ornstein's right and Sami Mokbel are correct, we've already agreed it, and that can be a release clause and quite an easy deal to get done. I can tell you what the summer will be. We all know we're going to get that goalkeeper from Espanyol. Yeah. Juan Garcia or Joan Garcia. Yeah. Obviously, Zubimendi coming in. I tell you, the two attackers are probably going to be Nico Williams and Sesko. Now, that to me doesn't excite me to a next level, but some people say it would because they're going to be great. But Sesko and Williams, there's two words there, great and going to be. The going to be worries me because I need them to be great now, not in a few years' time. Now, I'm not saying that Nico Williams is going to be a flop because he obviously went and won the Euros and he was pivotal to them going forward, but he's not had the best of seasons. And Sesko, for me, at 2021, that doesn't fill me with excitement. I mean, the numbers are all right, but I don't look at him and Havertz and think, levels ahead of this guy. And that's my biggest problem. And knowing Mikel the way I do, he'll probably play Sesko and then he'll drop Havertz back into the attacking 8 again. So I have problems with him coming in to be the player that's ready now. And I kind of want them to shut me up, really. And the way to shut me up is go and get an Isak. or go and sign somebody like Florian Wirtz, or go and get somebody like Morgan Rogers, or go and get somebody that you believe right now is ready to take us to that next level, like a Declan Rice signing, which to be fair would be Isak. Now I go back to the January window and I'm looking at Kvaratskhelia and I'm thinking, that is it. That's the one. How did we let that slip? That you can look at that position and think you clearly want a left winger. And you've said, yeah, Kvaratskhelia would be great, but I think he's like 100 million. No. He's 63. And we've really gone, nah, you're all right. We'll wait till the summer.
Do you know how much he's on, Dan?
About, well, ridiculous money, innit? It's not even nothing, is it? Go on.
160-ish.
Well, okay, let me shock you then, yeah, because Zinchenko's on 150.
Yeah.
And he was on at Manchester City 20k a week. How can you go from 20k a week to be jumped up to 150? And this is what I don't get about this club, that we were slating when Arteta walked in. Christ, Kolasinac is on 125 a week. Mustafi's on 90k a week. Xhaka, Bellerin, Leno, the list goes on. Now we've got players like Tierney and Zinchenko and guys like Martinelli on 180k a week. 180k a week. This guy's on. Like, let's be honest, I like Martinelli a lot. But how can you jump from like 30 to 130? Where's the kind of progression route to that? Mm-hmm. So this is my biggest problem. And now we're going to get a position where we've got 4 or 5 of our players with 2 years left that we're all going to have to offer between 250 and 350 a week. Are we going to do that? I mean, we're going to have to. But we're back in the position that we were under Wenger, where everyone was overpriced and overpaid. It's mad.
Well, we probably were. Like, we're headed down a path that I don't know how we're going to be able to manage it. I really don't. Because Havertz is on 275. That's the standard now. Saka's definitely gonna be on 300 minimum, right?
Yeah.
Saliba's already on 190, so he's gonna be looking at the minimum 280. You know, if Havertz is minimum 2 around that. Gabriel's on 100, so he's gonna be looking at Saliba on double his already, and looking around at his importance to the team, because Gabriel's importance has grown year in, year out over the last couple of years, to the point where this year I'd say he's been the better of the two. I'm not that I'm out here comparing, but I'm saying that's, you know, if I'm playing and my partner's getting double my wages, but I'm just as important, if not a bit more important, considering the set pieces, I'm like, what? So let's say he's on 200k as well. That's already what? You got 3 players on 300k ish. And then you got Jesus 250 injured for half the season next season. Our wage bill is just like that, getting out of control. And you said the ticket prices thing, and I said linking it to play. If we bought a Kvaratskhelia, the ticket prices now are down to that 100 million Rice and Havertz 275k a week. It goes back to that summer. That's the summer it goes back to. But they won't decrease it next season because of this last summer we had. No. It doesn't happen. There's no decreases. It doesn't happen like that.
Bro, that summer, just quickly, that summer, man, that Havertz summer, that was a mad one for me. Because as much as I was really excited about the Declan Rice, I think Timber and Raya have been 2 good signings. I look at that Havertz deal, and I think it might have even been yourself talking to me, actually, about the fact that Liverpool sold Coutinho and they bought in Van Dijk and Alisson. We got one of them right. The other one we completely messed up. And it's going to hamper us now for a long time, in my opinion. Because the amount of money this guy's on, and he has to play in that team. You can't say, you know, Arteta could say, I've got this one wrong big time. I'm really sorry. Going to have to hold the L. I'm going to have to upgrade on him. But I don't think he'll do that, bro. I think he'll be too stubborn and he'll try and utilize him. And this is the problem I've got. I've got nothing wrong with Kai Havertz being a squad player and coming on for the last 25 minutes. Nothing wrong with him starting a few games. But him leading the line in every single game was a big mistake, bro. Big mistake.
Biggest one. And listen, Arteta's shown that he's shown he can be stubborn, that's for sure. But he's also shown with Willian, for example, Tavares being another one, Lokonga being another one, that when players don't do what they are intended to do, then he'll backtrack or not necessarily fix the issue, but move on from it quite swiftly. A year for Willian, year for Tavares, about 18 months of Lokonga, and Arteta had enough. With Havertz, it's the wages as well, but it's been 2 years now. And going into next season, Arteta's not stupid. Going into next season, Arteta knows, you know, the owners might not know and the people there might, but Arteta knows the excuses for the club have run out. There's no injury excuses next year. There's nothing, because at the end of the day, prepare the squad better. Get a 25-man squad in, and then don't complain about numbers later on down the line. Don't go in with a 22-man squad, say you're happy with that, and then complain about numbers going into the next window and then not do nothing about those numbers and then have less numbers when that window closes. That's just outrageous for a team that's meant to be challenging or meant to be winning major runners now. I just don't see it happen at other clubs that are on that trajectory, then all of a sudden put the handbrake on and start moving. And the only other club I've seen do it is us years ago, when you're just on the cusp of something and not trying to do it. I've seen clubs be on the cusp of something, try to do it and fail. I have seen that, but I haven't seen a club be on the cusp of it and then just switch off. And people shouldn't use Tottenham as an example, because Tottenham were never doing things in the right manner to be winning stuff anyway, to switch it off at one point. Pochettino just came in, fixed the ship, got them a style of play, got them going, morale up, key players into right positions, and then they went where they went to, but they never got over the line with anything. Arsenal are a much bigger club than Tottenham, much greater club than Tottenham. Historically, the proof's in the pudding. So I won't take that example as anything. Other than that, what other big clubs have done that? None. Not just this league, none. You look around other leagues too. And we're about to do it again. But Martinelli, I see in the comments, someone said, would you sell Martinelli? I mentioned that I would this summer, if I'm honest with you. I'm coming out with a video soon on my channel where I kind of go through what Arsenal need and how a summer could look to the best of my abilities. And in every scenario, because I want a few different scenarios, in every scenario, I have myself selling Martinelli.
Okay.
I don't not because of these 37 million rumors. I actually said it before that. But I just feel like,
what's the rumor?
I don't know, man. AFTV put it up on socials. They said, Barca might be interested in a 37 million deal or something like that. And everyone's like, oh, he's worth more than 37 million. And he might be. I'm not here to argue about how much he's worth, but I'd say it's time to really look at that left side. And I'm thinking, all right, Trossard's got a year left. Trossard's on 90k, and Trossard is worth that. Wholeheartedly, he's been worth that throughout, let alone going in. Even this season, our frustration in Trossard comes because he hasn't managed to hold down the starting position. I can't be frustrated with him for that, because I knew he's never a starter. As a sub player, impact player, he's still done his thing throughout the season. So I would stick with Trossard another year, bring in something fresh, and then again in a year, you bring in something fresh and you completely revamp that left-hand side, because I just don't feel like it's levels right now, and it needs a complete revamp, if I'm honest.
Look, the left-hand side completely needs revamping. I'm with you. The left-back scenario is a hilarious one. That since we've come in, I've still not seen an upgrade on Kieran Tierney, and we might have just about found one on Miles Lewis-Skelly, which was in our youth academy the whole time. And then since then, we've had Kivior playing there, Tomiyasu playing there, Tavares playing there, Zinchenko playing there, Calafiori playing. How many left-backs are we going to get, man? So the left-back might now be sorted. The left 8 still isn't sorted, in my opinion. And what's even more criminal is the fact that Granit Xhaka, a player that I was calling out for the best part of 6 of his 7 years he was at the club, right? Still hasn't been upgraded. We sold him for 15 million, and we've not been able to replace or upgrade on a 15 million pound midfielder that we see and value at, because we've spent 65 million on Havertz to play there, 105 million now on Rice, who seems to be playing there. Well, no, I don't like that. Although the other night I thought he was good, I don't like it consistently. I think he's a number 6 in my opinion. We've seen Fabi Vieira play there. We've seen Smith Rowe play there. We've seen Trossard play there. Of late, we've seen Zinchenko play there. And now we've brought Marino in again to play there. So we've spent about 250 million pounds in total on players to try and get this left 8 position, right? And he hasn't got that right either. So we still don't know who our left 8 is. Yeah? We think it's Marino, and we think it might be, when everyone's fit, Declan Rice. But we're not quite sure, because we've seen bit parts of it, yeah? So that's 2 positions that he's tried about 15 players in, at left back and left 8. And then we come to left wing, which is basically one game it's Trossard, next game it's Martinelli. And we're not sure who right at the moment holds down that position. We believe it's Martinelli, and everyone wants Trossard as the super sub. But now people are saying that both of them might need to leave, and then we might actually bring somebody in completely new. Now, for me, I'd keep Martinelli as the backup, and I'd let him fight for his position. But Trossard, I think, needs to go. He's rejected his contract. He's only got a year left. He's either going to go at the end of next summer for nothing, or we try and sell him to Saudi for like 35, 40 million now, which is something what I'd probably do at the age of 30, right? So
if you can get that, then I'm with you. It's just I don't think we could. I forgot about the Saudi link last year. I'm looking at 1 year to go age, probably 15 M's. But if you're saying we can get 30, 35, either or, one I think's got to go this year. If
I
it's
agree.
Martinelli that stays, he needs to prove himself.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Martinelli, real talk, if someone's going to come in and offer something mad, then we could consider it. I'm not saying we don't sell him, whatever. I would keep him, but that's if someone offers 35 million. Let's be real. Like, we're looking now and you're thinking some of the wingers that are going, I mean, Mudryk went for like 67 million, rising to 80 or something mad. What could we get for a 23-year-old Brazilian international? You know what I mean? With a lot of potential and a higher ceiling. So, yeah, he's definitely gone downhill. He's fallen off a bit of a cliff. I actually do think Mikel Arteta has got a lot to blame with that in terms of the style. I don't think it's been great for him. I can't make all the excuses up because Saka's still killing it, right? But most of our attack has struggled under Mikel. And this is a big problem that I've got. You know, me and Curtis were saying it. Curtis said it on my channel, absolutely spot on, about he just literally listed all of the attackers at Arsenal. And bar Saka, they've all been pretty poor or they've failed to deliver left. I can't think of any other one other than Saka. Even the likes of the youngsters that have been tried. Balogun was hardly tried and tested. He went. Marquinhos is still there, but he can't get in the side. He's not been improving under him. You got Trossard and Martinelli that people are saying we both now need to replace. We've got the likes of Eddie and Nketiah, who just was always Eddie and Nketiah. And then when you look at Aubameyang and Lacazette on top of that, and Willian and Sterling, I'm starting to struggle where the attackers are that he's actually improved or he's actually got something out of. And this is why when I'm looking at the likes of Isak and Williams, if they are coming in, or if Sesko and Williams or Cunha, whoever it is coming in, I need to see them deliver. Mikel needs to get this signing right. This striker needs to deliver. We can't get to this time next year and Sesko is Arsenal's new striker and he's on 7 goals this season. Like, we can't do that, man. Like, real talk, he's got to get this right. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. And Martinelli, for me, if someone's coming in at 60 million, you might consider it. Otherwise, I think I'd just be keeping him. And then I'd go and buy the winger on top of it. That wide man might not be Williams if he wants to stay in Spain. But you've got to go and make it a Cunha or a Lookman, or you've got to go and do something and deliver. You can't be just, oh, yeah, we'll keep Trossard then and stick with it. You know, we've got to go. And if that's who you want a new left winger, go get a left winger. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at, bro.
Do you think he has a, like, obviously this is just unfounded people because, you know, people, we're just fans, by the way. Let me just caveat everything with that. But do you think Arteta might have an issue with signing? Well, we already hear right profile and all that, and part of that right profile probably means character, someone that's going to fall in line and listen, basically. You know, that's a part of the right profile, in my opinion. Looking at the signings we've made and the signings we've maneuvered away from that have been available, I feel like not necessarily being a nice guy is part of the right profile, but not being someone that's going to come potentially, you know, upset the ship a little. But I look at a lot of attackers as that sort of character, especially a lot of the elite attackers. There's always that risk in there. There's a bit of ego in there. There's a bit of a pass me the ball, like I'm the man kind. And that's what makes great players as well, especially in attack. You know, I remember off the top of my head, I just remember. You remember Man United game? Lauren didn't cut it back to Henry for a simple, and Henry absolutely
mental.
And them man were there. Lauren is an OG legend himself, but that moment Henry's like, nah, brother, I need to score. That is there with a lot of attackers, and Henry wasn't even known as one of them sort of attackers. Do you think Arteta has an, like? I looked at January and said, when that Leon stuff happened, I said, Shirky, you know, I don't watch him week in, week out, but I've seen enough of him to know we don't necessarily have that in abundance. And by that, I mean a bit of panache, a bit of, you know, on the ball, he might do something mad. He might, you know, he can create, he can move, he can pop. And I thought, all right, 25 mil apparently came out last few days. That's what he's available for. Now, again, that in the summer, we've got a lot of work to do. I think we need 3 attackers minimum, whether that's 1 striker, 2 left wingers, or 1 left winger and 2 strikers. I feel like we need 3 attackers overall. We have to look at options. And I've looked at Ryan Cherky. I'm thinking 25 mil for a player of, all right, maybe not that caliber because he hasn't done nothing yet, but a player of that ilk, I think something like that it makes so much sense. But then you hear character is an issue. And to be honest, Tony last season, a lot of what was said is, he's not the right character and whatnot. So do you think Arteta has a particular issue with a certain type of character? And do you think that character Or do you think we can find the right players that need to get us over the line in attack that don't have that character? Because Oba had a bit of that character too. He had a bit of that, and he was quite a nice guy, Oba, but he still had that. You could tell behind the scenes, bravado, which when you're scoring 20 goals a season for us, I'm sorry, but you can have a bit of your chest out a little. But do you think, I know it's a long-winded question, but do you think Arteta has an issue with any sort of character? And do you think that is detrimental to our search for the final pieces?
So I think he definitely has a problem with some of the personalities. I think he definitely has a problem with some of the attitudes. Some of that's a good thing because some of what Ozil was doing, I agree we need to get rid of him. Same with Aubameyang, to be fair. I actually was more pissed off that we didn't replace Aubameyang as opposed to letting him go. It wasn't the fact that he went, just like Granit Xhaka, We haven't replaced these people. They're not going to be here forever. But I asked the question, what profile are we looking at then? Because some of the, big up Stricto, some of the people, right, I look at it and I think, what profile are we looking for up top then? Because Jesus was the first profile he's looking at. Then Kai Havertz has come in. That's a completely different profile to Gabriel Jesus. Lacazette was the first guy that he had. Aubameyang was wanted to push out wide on the left because he didn't see him down the centre. So that's different profile. You've got one that runs off the shoulder. He's got pace. You've got one that holds up play. You've got one that drops deep and has all the skills and technical ability of Jesus. And then you've got Kai Havertz again, who can put it up there and actually hold up the ball and start to link up play. So what the hell are you actually looking for profile-wise? Because do you want an Alexander Isak? Or do you want a Gyökeres or a Sesko that's got different attributes? I still don't know what the profile of striker is that Mikel Arteta wants. And to answer your question about big characters, I don't really think we've got massive characters yet at Arsenal. They might be big characters, but they're not actually got to the stage of being the Thierry Henrys and the Patrick Vieira's, because they need to win something together as a team and actually show that they can go on to compete and win trophies and deliver each season. Now, some of the winning mentality that we've had, to be fair, is now leaving. Jesus is going. Zinchenko is going. Kieran Tierney is going. They're the people that have actually won, if you think about it. So there's definitely something about the mentality there for me. And I look at the leadership at Arsenal over the last couple of decades. Tony Adams, I mean, he captained us in 3 decades, yeah? You've got Patrick Vieira took it over. Probably the biggest compliment is that you didn't actually miss Adams' qualities in terms of his captains and leadership because Patrick Vieira was so good. After that, it was kind of banding around as who's the best player at the club, and then it went a bit wrong in the Emirates era at times. But for me, I look at the situation now and I think actually we have got some leaders in that team. Gabriel, for me, would be my captain, yeah? I like Martin Odegaard as a player. He's not a captain for me. He's not a leader for me. I think he's a good player. I think he's technically gifted. But I think Gabriel's the one who's getting up in Haaland's face. Yeah, he's the Vieira or Keane of us. I think you've got Saliba, to be fair, who would tower over that. And I think you've got Declan Rice. So there is some characters in that I think that he can say that he likes in terms of a certain type of character. But whether he wants the kind of ego, I think we kind of coming away from that a bit, really, in my opinion. But I'd love to know why he hasn't bought a striker and what his profile of striker is. That's what I'd love questions to be answered. I still can't answer why he hasn't bought a striker in 5 years. Is it Kroenkes won't give him money? Or is it they'll give him money for every other position, but they're not going to give him money for a striker? Or is it actually you got the money, but you go work it out, Mikel, what do you want? And he spent it all on the midfield and the defenders. I can't work out what it is, man, but there's definitely something wrong with our attack in the last couple of years under Mikel Arteta, because for me, every single one of them other than Saka, I've got some concerns about, if I'm honest, in terms of their development.
Yeah, big up Stricto as well. He's in the building. Strict, you're still a season ticket holder, isn't it?
Yeah. Still
renewed. You got the update?
Yeah. I got the thing. Yeah, it's gonna be renewed. Well, you know what it is. Yeah. To be fair,
I'm not asking you, are you going to renew, by the way? I'm just saying, have you got the update, the percentage?
Yeah.
Because that's how we started. We started our thoughts on that, and as many people remind me, I'm not a match going fan like that anymore. So Dan's on, you're on. You got the email, the percentage, all that stuff. They tied it to winning major trophies. How do you feel? How do you feel about the? Are you, it's going to Isak type of fan? The increase goes to Isak, or where the increase is going?
We know where it's not going to no fucking Isak, bro. Isak ain't seen a penny of that, man. Listen, like I said, a lot of the time is just emotional blackmail. Because realistically, I should have stopped renewing my season ticket a few years ago, even way before we are at this point that we are in now. Do you know what I'm saying? I'll say the Emery era, or even just a bit before that. I should have stopped renewing it. But they know Strickland's gonna come back. They know Strickland is gonna give his last penny to them. Do you know what I'm saying? They know all of that. But listen, it ain't easy. And then on top of that, the worst part of it all, yeah, is the waiting list. Sorry to say, like you just in case you're thinking about not renewing, there's a 15-year waiting list or 18, however long it is. Just in case you fuck up, I want to come back. I want to say sorry. Nope, 15, 18 years wait. But you know, just catching up to what you lot were saying in terms of those Arteta-like characters, and I think a determining factor, if you look at most managers over history, over time, their captain is always a reflection of who they like and that what kind of character they like. So if you look at like Fergie, for example, he had Keane, and then Wenger had, Wenger met Tony Adams there, but then I think his first captain after Adams, was Vieira, wasn't it? Vieira, I think Vieira was his first captain after Adams. And then you look at Arteta, his captain is Odegaard. And if you look at like Odegaard, and you look at like his, obviously I don't know Odegaard, but I'm talking about his on the pitch personality. He seems like a very shy, he's not the type that's going to tear you up. And I think that says a lot in terms of like the kind of players Arteta likes. Because at the end of the day, your captain is who relays, who's the manager on the pitch, if you want to say that. You know, they take all the responsibility from the manager, and then, you know, they work it out on the pitch. And I think if you look at Odegaard, it says a lot about the kind of players Arteta likes. He's still young in his managerial career, so I suppose he can't have too much characters in there, because at the end of the day, the question is going to be, what have you won to try to give me too much chess? Do you know what I'm saying? And I think once you start winning and, you know, you start getting years under your belt, I suppose you're more inclined to handle players with big characters, you know, because, you know, you've got something there now to back you up. But at this present moment in time, he can't handle like an Oba. He can't handle all the, you know, the mega superstars, because the question is, bro, you're probably only like 5-6 years older than me. First of all, you ain't really won anything. So who are you to tell me anything? So I think he's just at the moment managing characters, you know, and I don't think he wants to manage too much. You know what I'm saying? He does you know, who's a character in the team now? I don't think anyone is arrogant.
No.
Who's that arrogant type? And I mean arrogant in every way. You know what I'm saying? Like who's the arrogant sort of like a Zlatan sort of thing, where it's like, yeah, I'm the guy. So like, I don't think we have that in our team, because we haven't won anything, and also because Arteta doesn't really. You've seen the way he got rid of Oba. You know, he probably felt Oba was a cancer. You see the way he got rid of Guendouzi. Guendouzi seemed like the arrogant type. You know, like he nipped that in the bud quick. You know, so I think it's just him trying to find or manage his dressing room the best as he can.
Well, we're at a stage now where we need a bit of footballing arrogance, a bit of that. I don't know. That's why I like the Berta stuff. And now I'm seeing other things that are contradicting that. Maybe the Berta stuff was also season ticket renewal stuff, because today all of a sudden Yossi Benayoun comes into the fray, and the less said on that, the better. I'm not even going to entertain. But then the whole 4-list candidate thing comes up again. But hold on, I thought this was the month it's getting done, and I thought Berta was close. I thought the next step was announcement, Berta's coming in or whatever. And I like that because he's different. He's experienced. He's not Spanish. He's someone that has argued many times with Simeone. If you read over quotes from both of them over the years, but they both align with the vision for Atletico. I like everything about that, because I feel like, you know, some challenging is needed within the ranks. I'm not necessarily is someone to just strictly come and challenge Mikel. It's someone to challenge above, below, all round. And I thought Berta was, in terms of the candidates that I've heard so far, he was well primed for that, Dan. I don't know if you've heard anything different, but is that still likely? Has it swayed to another list again? Like, what's going on?
Well, if you listen to Sammy Mockbell today, I think what he's doing is he's saving his own bacon, Sammy Mockbell, personally, because what he's done is he's not really provided any information on any kind of highlight of where the direction's going in. He's basically said, look, guys, we're still talking to 4 candidates. They're happy with Jason Ato's position. They think he's done well, which is a joke, by the way. There's 4 candidates on the list, and Berta's one of them. Now, the other day it was Berta's the top candidate, and Fabrizio Romano was suggesting that although it wasn't sealed, it was pretty much the top candidate, and it looks like it was going to be a likelihood. Now, all of a sudden, when that doesn't come out and we're still searching around, we were told in March this would be done. And then all of a sudden the renewals happen. You start to then wonder, don't you? Only a couple of days ago that was announced, and all of a sudden, boom, season tickets are up, people. Get excited because this summer's going to be amazing with Berta and Arteta, and we're going to give them a war chest. Then everyone starts to get their season tickets. It's all very clever. So, look, I hope that we could still get him. And I think the way that Sammy Mockbell put it in, I think personally there was an opportunity there to kind of highlight that he was still within the kind of options. But I don't want any of the others, man. If I'm honest with you, he's the only one that really would have excited me, to be fair. I mean, Roberto Alabe, yeah, I'd rather have him than Jason Ato. Don't want him or Dan Ashworth, Jason Ato or Dan Ashworth. But there's only really Scuro is the only other one at Monaco, to be fair. But he would have to be kind of bought to get out. But if I'm honest with you, it's Berta or the rest are quite deflated, if I'm honest. I don't want Dan Ashworth because, I mean, if Arteta was to go, we'll probably end up with Ashworth and Southgate. If that's the case. So I don't want him, man. So yeah, look, I hope it is, but I hope it is true. And I hope it is just Sammy Mockbell kind of just giving information that it's not done yet, but he's obviously one of the candidates. And I do believe he's a top candidate if you believe what Ornstein and Romano are saying. So hopefully they don't always get it right, but they rarely get it wrong. And they really put their neck on the line to say that he's top candidate and it's looking like it's going to happen type attitude. So I hope that does get over the line. Because like you, Turkish, we need someone with experience. We've got no experience at ownership level, board level, or management level. So for me, there's an opportunity now.
Yes.
Hey, hello.
Hi.
Ah, how cute.
You didn't know he was live. Are you Arteta in or out?
Love that, man. Love that.
All right, see you later. Yeah, that
We
is
got little Strix. Strick, you interested in this conversation? Like in terms of the sporting night, have you kept your finger to the pulse? Like, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think I'll be honest. Like I've sort of glimpsed it and sort of looked away. I haven't really looked at it in depth like you guys have. But I did check out the is it Bert? What's his name?
Berta.
Yeah, and you know, I think you just sort of got to look at from where he's coming from, characters that he's dealt with. You know, we know Simeone's a hothead, you know, and to sort of deal with Simeone and his, you know, and his nature. Listen, ultimately, I don't want a yes man. Ultimately, I want someone that's gonna come, shake up the place, and you know, like obviously not disrupt the rhythm, but let's be honest, in that boardroom, it seems like everything is just calm and there's no rush in that boardroom. So maybe you need someone that's gonna come in on a Tasmanian devil sort of thing and just spin the room and get everyone fixed up, looking sharp. So you know, just on that sort of on that basis alone, he looks to me like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but
yeah.
in all honesty, I haven't really looked at all of that in depth. Like Dan was saying, like the whole Jason Ito thing. Like I was looking at that a few months ago, and I'm like, what has this brother done that he's getting a lot of pat on the?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, what has he done to get a pat on the back other than do what makes business sense for them, which don't make no sense for us as fans, because it's the business of football and the business of supporting a club. We're supporting our club, and we're not. This guy hasn't broken any deal for any players at the time when we needed it. What's the pat on the back for? Was he good at? He ain't brought any flipping one through the door, and certainly ain't brought anyone of caliber through. Like, I don't understand it. So yeah, for me, the Berto guy or whatever his fucking name is, it looks for me a more serious thing. But you gotta look at the club, you gotta look at the board. Like they don't seem to like characters either. You know, everyone at that level is a bit
Yeah.
prim and proper.
You're right. Still, I can't lie to you. It starts from there.
The Jason Ato thing, that real talk, that's like having an apprentice in your office, yeah, and they've been there for a week, and then you don't actually know what they've done, and you're hyping them up, going, "Yeah, I think we're going to give this guy the job, man." What's he done? Well, I mean, my tea and biscuits was great. I don't know about you guys. Come on, man. Like, let's be real. What did this guy actually do? This guy has done nothing. He's brought nobody in. He's sold nobody, and they've been really impressed with his internal and external work. What the
He might be
hell?
good at writing emails. I think he's excellent at writing emails. That must be what it is, bro. His language in emails must be exceptional.
They
Like,
applied in January, so I don't know what language he's using, but he needs to use a different language, man. But I'm with you, man. When Dan said a pat on the back, not pat on the back, he said that they're impressed with what he's done. I've started trying to think about what he's done, and I can't think of one thing. You're there for ins and outs, and there was no ins and outs, so it's all mad. But listen, we have hit an hour. We have hit 8 p.m. people. As always, we are live every night at 7 p.m. Guests rotate. I believe it's Cecil, maybe Robbie tomorrow, but don't quote me on that. Just be here. Make sure you're subscribed. Obviously, go over to Football's 12th Man. That's Dan's channel. Stricto, let them know where they can find you at.
yeah, strict, man. Come on, people. Let's grow the channel, man. Strict, please.
There you go.
I'm pleading with you.
Strict. It's easy. You search that up, then it'll come up.
Exactly.
And it'll be on more. It'll be on from the beginning as well, so we can put it all up in the description and make sure people do go over and support the thing. But individual channels, people, show some love. Obviously, here, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Actually, I forgot about super chats, and we've got a couple here. One from Suj saying big up Turkish, and Dan, hit the likes and subscribe. That was before you got here, Stricto. And this one from Mr. Me saying, being an Arsenal fan is like getting a slick haircut on the weekend, but tripping on your shoelace Monday morning in front of the fittest girl in school. Well,
Fair, man. Fair.
Do we ever get the freshest trim, though? That's the thing.
No, but we definitely trip, though. But we definitely trip.
We trip, yeah.
We definitely trip.
We trip
Monday, Tuesday.
That's peak.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We definitely trip.
Yeah, out here tripping people. All right, hit that like button. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Previews, predicted 11, box to box. All of that's coming out to Man United Sunday. We didn't even get a chance to talk about that, but you'll see enough content talking about just that in the next 24, 48 hours. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Thoughts, predictions for Sunday, and the thoughts on Josh Kroenke, Stan Kroenke, ticket price increases, and Kroenke out all day, every day, people. Love for the love. We move. Peace.
Your exclusive chance to win 2 VIP hospitality tickets to Arsenal versus Chelsea worth over £1,500 is finally here.
AFTV is teaming up with Reforte, the marketplace for luxury raffles, to give one lucky winner these tickets.
We're talking free food, drinks, great seats, and a day at the Emirates that you'll never forget.
And with only 250 tickets available, your chances of winning are seriously high. Plus, guys, a percentage of every ticket sold goes to a charity to help fight childhood cancer.
It's completely transparent and the checkout is easy. It takes less than 1 minute and you can even use Apple Pay.
So hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to enter a raffle with Reforte.
The competition is UK only and the winner will be announced live on YouTube and Instagram, so grab your tickets right now.
Good luck!